Hey guys, Michael Gass, PDS Equipment. Quick video on more specifics on setting up cutter blade height and pressure. We've had a lot of people ask for more details on that, so here we go. So here we have our cutter blade. Let's talk about this real quick. First off, if I catch it just right, you can barely see that blade sticking out. Your blade barely needs to stick out. We're going to go over blade height. First thing I'm going to do is unscrew this black cap. Show you what's underneath here. So there's your blade, and your blade actually sits inside a bearing that swivels. Your blade is 0.3 offset, 0.3 millimeters offset from the center. That's why your offset is always 0.3 on the machine. The blade determines the offset. That's not just some arbitrary performance number. Unless you get a different blade, almost all Mimaki blades are 0.3 offsets. You're always going to leave your offset at 0.3. I'll show you that in just a minute. All right, the other thing I took that off for was you need to be aware that trash can build up in here, and when it does, you're not going to cut consistently. If you're trying to set your cutter with trash down inside here, that's not going to happen. Next thing is this controls your blade height. So if we turn this clockwise, the blade goes down. We turn it counterclockwise, the blade goes up. So I'm going to purposefully set this thing wrongly. So now I'm going to unscrew it. So now I'm all out of calibration. So the first thing we do is, and this is what people struggle with, you take this guy and you set it on your media. I've got two pieces of media, 1, 2. This one just had some test prints on it, so just pretend it's blank. So I'm going to set one piece of media on top of another. I set this down, and you'll feel it square up. And once it squares up, just grab it and draw it. Now I've got my blade completely down, so nothing happened. So now I'm going to turn it clockwise until my blade begins to protrude. And there you can see that blade is just coming out. So now I'm going to grab it and I'm going to make a draw. And again, I'm putting a fair amount of pressure with my finger, and I'm making sure it's square. If you pull it at an angle, either way, you're not going to get a good test print or a test cut. As you can see, I cut all the way through, and then what I want to look for is, did I cut through my second piece? I don't see anything on the second piece. So I'm going to go slightly deeper. So I'm going to turn this clockwise. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to draw again. Cut through my first piece, no problem. My second piece, if you look right here, see if I can catch it in the light. We're going to have a hard time seeing that, but basically it is a light score mark on that second sheet. We want to see just a light score. And once you see that all the way through the first sheet, lightly into the second sheet, you are set correctly. So that's how we set our blade height. So now that we've manually set the blade depth, now we want to go to the machine and set our pressure and our perf cut settings. So we're going to come over here and we're going to go to select, and we're going to come to tool. We're going to hit tool. And we're going to zoom in here. We want to be on cut 1. Cut 1 is our kiss cut. By the way, when we make these adjustments on the machine, we want to make sure that we use the same media that we used to set our blade depth. You want to use the same media on both, because if you set your blade depth on one media and your pressure on another, you're not going to get as good results. So we're going to be on cut 1. Speed's always going to be 30. Offset's always going to be 0.3. Half cut is always going to be off. So on a kiss cut, the only thing you need to adjust is the pressure. Again, our blade has an offset of 0.3, so that number is always going to be 0.3. Our pressure for a kiss cut is going to be anywhere from 30 to 120. It could even vary more than that. Don't worry about the number. Worry about the results. When you set this number, do a test cut. And what you're looking for is cut cleanly through the vinyl and just barely score into the media. When you're doing that, then you've got a good kiss cut number. If you're not cutting all the way through the vinyl, go up. I usually go up 20 at a time, and when I get close, then I go 10 at a time. If I'm cutting much through the media, or if I'm cutting through my vinyl and too much into my backer, I make my number smaller. Once you get that number set, remember your pressure number. This case it's on 40, and we're going to go to tool, we're going to hit enter, we're going to go to tool, going to go to cut 1, and we're going to hit enter, not end, And we're going to change that to cut 2, and we're going to hit enter. Now that we're on cut 2, we're going to set our perf cut or our half cut conditions. So speed, again, going to leave it on 30. Offset, always going to leave it on 0.3. Half cut's always going to be on. Our pressure, we're going to adjust until we go all the way through the vinyl and all the way through the backer. This number can go anywhere from 60 to 80 to 100, all the way up to 300, even higher. Again, don't worry about the number. We're going to be result oriented. We're going to do test cuts until we're cutting through the media completely without too much pressure. How do you know if you have too much pressure? Once I get my pressure, I'm going to back off 20. Do it again. If I'm still cutting all the way through, then I know my pressure's too high. I want to be able to back off 20 and see that I'm not cutting through the media. That assures me that I don't have too much pressure. Too much pressure, you're going to get jagged edges. You're going to dull your blade. You can even snap your blade. You can have jams. So you want to have enough pressure, but not too much pressure. Once we set all of these, we're going to go down to our half cut pressure. And again, I said remember the number on our kiss cut, which was 40 grams. That's going to be 40. Half cut length, put it on 0.5. Cut length, put it on 20. Cut length 20 is almost always going to be good for you. Half cut length 0.5 is an excellent starting point. If you want your media to pop out a little easier, cut that down to 0.3. If you want it to hold on a little stronger, make it 0.7, 0.8, maybe 1. 0.5 is going to work almost always. 0.3 is about as low as I usually go. 1 is as high as I usually go, but the majority of the time I'm between 0.5 and 0.7. So you set those up like that, and you should not have any trouble cutting. If you have any questions, let me know, and we appreciate all our PDS customers, and be sure to check out all our YouTube videos. Thank you, guys.